Once upon a time, in the heart of the vast golden savanna, where the tall grass swayed like waves in the wind and the great acacia trees stood like sentinels, there lived a lion known as Amandla. His name meant power, and true to his name, he was feared and respected by all. His roar could be heard for miles, sending chills through the spines of every creature in the land. It was a symbol of his might, his dominance, and his unchallenged reign as king of the jungle. But one fateful morning, as the first rays of the sun stretched across the horizon, Amandla rose from his slumber and opened his powerful jaws to let out his usual morning roar. He filled his lungs, pushed out his mighty breath, and nothing, only a pitiful rasp escaped his throat. Amandla's amber eyes widened in shock. He tried again, straining with all his might, but his voice was gone. The king of the jungle had lost his roar. Word spread quickly through the animal kingdom. The elephants whispered among themselves, the zebras snickered, and the hyenas howled with laughter. "A lion without a roar is just a big cat," one of them cackled. Even the birds, perched high in the baobab trees, chirped in disbelief. Amandla had once been the most feared creature in the savanna, but now, without his voice, his power seemed to vanish like mist under the morning sun. For the first time in his life, Amandla felt small. Without his roar, who was he? Determined to reclaim his roar, Amandla set out on a journey. He sought the wisdom of the great elephant, Mzi, the oldest and wisest creature in the land. Mzi listened to Amandla's plight and after a long pause said, "Your roar is not lost, young king. It is hidden, waiting for you to find it. True strength is not just in your voice but in your heart. Travel beyond the great river, where the wise ones dwell. There, you may find the answer you seek." And so, Amandla embarked on a long and perilous journey, his paws treading through unknown lands, determined to find his roar and perhaps something even greater. Amandla traveled across the savanna until he reached the great river. The current was strong and the water was deep. He paced along the riverbank, his heart pounding. He was a strong swimmer, but something in his gut told him that brute strength alone would not be enough to cross. As he hesitated, an old crocodile named Jibu emerged from the water, his golden eyes glinting in the sunlight. "To cross, you must trust more than just your strength," Jibu hissed. "Sometimes wisdom is the greater tool." Amandla observed a group of small monkeys nearby. They did not swim across but used fallen branches and vines to create a bridge. Realizing their cleverness, Amandla carefully followed their path, stepping lightly, balancing his weight. As he reached the other side safely, he turned back and saw Jibu nod approvingly before vanishing beneath the water. Lesson learned. Strength alone is not enough. Wisdom must guide it. Beyond the river, Amandla entered the vast, dry expanse of the Desert of Shadows. The heat was relentless, and his paws burned against the scorching sand. He walked for hours, his throat parched, his vision blurring from exhaustion. Just as despair began to settle in, he heard a faint, desperate cry. A tiny meerkat was trapped under a fallen rock, struggling to free itself. Amandla was tempted to ignore it. His own survival was at stake, but something in his heart urged him to stop. Using the last of his energy, he pushed the rock aside, freeing the meerkat. In gratitude, the meerkat led Amandla to a hidden oasis, where he drank deeply and rested beneath the shade of a palm tree. Lesson learned. True strength lies in compassion and helping others, even in one's own time of struggle. Refreshed, Amandla continued his journey until he reached the Mountain of Echoes, where the wise owl, Bibi, resided. As he climbed, he heard whispers carried by the wind. They were not voices but echoes of past rulers, their wisdom embedded in the very stone of the mountain. At the summit, Bibi perched on an ancient tree and studied Amandla with piercing eyes. "Your roar is not in your throat but in your actions," she hooted. Help those in need, and you will find your voice. Amandla descended the mountain, deep in thought. As he journeyed onward, he saw a group of antelope trapped in a thorny thicket, their frightened eyes pleading for help. Without hesitation, he used his great strength to push aside the branches, freeing them. In return, the grateful antelope guided him to a secret valley where a hidden truth awaited. Lesson learned: leadership is not about commanding others, it is about serving them. In the secret valley, an ancient lion spirit appeared before him. Amandla, your roar was never just about sound. It was about leadership, wisdom, and the courage to protect others, the spirit said. True kings do not rule with fear but with guidance and kindness. Amandla closed his eyes, reflecting on his journey. He had learned patience from the monkeys, wisdom from Jibu, compassion from the meerkat, and selflessness from helping the antelope. As he embraced this truth, he felt a deep, powerful vibration build within him. He opened his mouth, and a mighty, thunderous roar erupted, shaking the land. His voice had returned, but now it carried not just power, but wisdom and compassion. With his roar restored, Amandla returned home, no longer just a ruler, but a true leader. The animals no longer feared him, they respected him. The hyenas no longer mocked him, they listened. The savannah flourished under his just reign. For Amandla had discovered that true strength was never just about might, but about the heart that wields it. And so, the lion who lost his roar became the greatest king the savannah had ever known, not because of his voice, but because of the wisdom behind it.